Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And we are less than 48 hours away from the big game in Santa Clara, the big game that nobody is talking about. This Super Bowl has been, I don't think there's been any major interest in this game whatsoever. There's no juice to it. There aren't big name players. I know May will be a big game player, big quarterback in the future. He does have that potential. But there are no major storylines. The only thing that people have been talking about are the Hall of Fame snubs, of course, Belichick and Kraft for one, and this halftime show ridiculousness that's going on with this Bad Bunny and the TP USA they're hosting their own halftime show. Who cares? But other than that, from what I'm hearing, I have relatives out in the San Jose area. Super Bowl tickets are going down in price. And the reason for it is that, New England has, the Boston, New England area, it's like Scranton with clams. It's nothing special up there. And Seattle is, they're drinking coffee all the time. And, I don't know who even knows if they're into football, except if you're a Seahawks fan and you go to the games. Other than that, do they have that big of a fan base? This has been a Super Bowl that doesn't have the sexy quarterback matchup. It doesn't have the sexy head coach matchup. There hasn't been any controversies regarding the game. There hasn't been any controversy surrounding the players. There's really no storyline going on, and that hurts. And the other thing that really hurts the game is the fact that the game is in Santa Clara, which is in the middle. If you know anything about Northern California, it's not really a football place. I mean, if the game was in San Francisco, maybe, but Santa Clara is in the middle of nowhere. And so you're not going to get these big Wall Street guys or these big people from all around the country from these big cities to go to this game because it's out of the way. But with that said, Super Bowl 60 will be between the Seahawks and the Patriots, a rematch of a Super Bowl, I believe, from almost 10 years ago, where Pete Carroll made one of the worst calls in Super Bowl history, throwing the football on 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. I think it was 1st and goal. And he had Marshawn Lynch, who was having the season of his life, but he decides to throw the ball. He gives Russell Wilson the opportunity to win the game, and Russell Wilson, as we all know, sucks. And Wilson throws an interception to a then-rookie Malcolm Butler, and there you have it. One of the worst calls that I've ever seen. But that's Pete Carroll. This is different. McDonald in Seattle has proven that defensive coordinators can make better head coaches than offensive coordinators. And this is the shocking, very interesting point I want to make here. Both Super Bowl head coaches are former defensive coordinators, defensive-minded guys. Not one offensive coordinator made it to the Super Bowl this year. Not one. And McDonald beat the supposed geniuses, right? He beat Shanahan, who, of course, loses Coach of the Year to Mike Vrabel, and as well he should. And he beat McVay, and McVay will never, ever, 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 ever admit that he was wrong for the way he handled that NFC Championship game, but he handled it terribly. I thought the Rams were going to win this I thought the Rams were going to win that game and go into this Super Bowl and win this Super Bowl. But these offensive coordinators, not head coaches, offensive coordinators would rather look smart rather than look boring and win. They'd rather look smart and lose. That's an oxymoron. Rather than look conservative and boring and win. That's the problem with these guys today. And don't give me Andy Reid and don't give me this guy and that guy from 20, 30 years ago. Those are different football minds. These new crop of coaches, the Shanahans, the Ben Johnsons, the LaFleurs. These guys don't know how to close out games because they think offensively too much. They forget that field goals matter. Special teams matter. Running the football, milking the clock matter. They don't know how to do this. Kyle Shanahan is the number one culprit of this. He's blown three major games with double-digit leads with under 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and blown all those games 28-3, 20-10 against Kansas City, 17-7 against the Rams. 4 really. He blew another 10-point lead in the Super Bowl against Kansas, the second Super Bowl against Kansas City. But let's get off that rant. Like I said, nothing exciting here. The teams aren't sexy. The coaches aren't really sexy. They're good. Vrabel's a great head coach. Done a tremendous job this year. McDonald's is another one. Great head coach. But he's a kid. We don't know much about him. What are the key points to this game, though? Who wins and how do they win? First thing, the Patriots' offensive line has been putrid this year. They have given up the 5th most amount of sacks, and their sack rating is 5th worst in the league. Normally, for a team to have that type of putrid production on the offensive line, you don't even make the playoffs. How they've done this, I don't know. But Drake May has been getting killed behind this offensive line. 47 sacks during the regular season. I believe he's been sacked 6 or 7 times in the playoffs. Can the offensive line keep May clean against the Seattle pass rush? I don't think they can. If they couldn't stop the Chargers, who were beat up, the Broncos ran through them like there was no tomorrow. Ran through them like there's no tomorrow. And the Broncos and the Seahawks, their defenses are comparable. Now, people are saying, well, the Patriots won those games. Well, they beat they beat a Charger team that was just gassed. They didn't have any players. Half their team was on the IL. And they beat a Denver team in Denver without their starting quarterback. If Bo Nix was in that game, they probably lose. People are going to say the Patriots had an easy schedule. Well, you play who you play who's on your schedule. That's all nonsense. The Patriots did a fabulous job getting to this position here, but I think this is the end of the road for their winning streak. I don't think they can stop Seattle's pass rush. I don't think that Drake May has enough weapons. They're going to have to rely on the running game and their defense to keep this game close. I think it will be a close game. But I think Seattle will always have the upper hand. They'll always be in front. And maybe they pull away in the fourth quarter a little bit. A lot of people are talking about a 10, 13-point victory margin. I'm kind of on the fence with that. I think the Patriots defense will keep New England in the game because Seattle aren't a great offense either. I mean, yes, they have JSN. He's tremendous. And Kenneth Walker, great running back. Sam is doing a great job not turning the ball over and playing and competing and oftentimes outplaying his rival quarterback on the other side of the field. He outplayed Stafford 2 weeks ago. And he's been magnificent. And now he has a chance to shut up all the critics in New York, the critics in Minnesota, the critics around the NFL. He's 60 minutes away from shutting those critics up forever if he wins this Super Bowl on Sunday. Because once you get that ring on your finger, everybody can shove it. They can never take it away from you. But I think it starts at the line of scrimmage. And I think it starts with Seattle's pass rush. And I think they will get to May, and I think they will disrupt that passing attack, and they'll probably stop the running game too. I really don't see how the Patriots are going to move the ball all that much in this game against the Seattle defense. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, really. But and I'm not really big into over unders because those can kill you in the end. But I don't believe that the Patriots offensive line can match up and stop and slow down, not stop, but slow down this Seattle pass rush. What's the key matchup? The key matchup is going to be JSN versus Christian Gonzalez. These are two top performers on both sides of the football, and they will be matched up against each other. We will see what Vrabel does, the schemes that Vrabel has for him in stopping JSN. I'm of the belief that they are going to try and take away JSN, forcing Seattle to get Rashid Shaheed involved more, which is nothing to say. That's not an easy task either, stopping him. But I think that they're going to force the Seahawks to go his way, because it's what Belichick would do. JSN is the primary option in the passing game, but Shaheed has the speed to make the big plays. And all you need in this game with their defense is one big play. That's it. That's all you need. The key to victory for the Seahawks, we talked about the pass rush. I think if May gets pressured enough, he will throw the ball into the teeth of the Seattle secondary, which is probably the best secondary in the league. And that could create turnovers, and that could create even pick sixes. And if you get a touchdown on defense, this game is over before it started. I like the Patriots. I like Vrabel. I like May. This is a bridge too far for them, though. Do I think they'll keep it competitive? Yeah, I think it'll be a close game going into the fourth quarter. I really do. I don't think it'll be a blowout like we had last year. I don't think Seattle will overpower the Pats, especially offense against defense. No. I think the Patriots will be, I don't want to say overpowered, but I think they'll be vulnerable on the offensive line, as I said. If they cannot establish the running game quickly, they can't win. And they're going to put a lot of pressure on their defense, and their defense will be exhausted in the fourth quarter. And I think that's when Kenneth Walker will come into play, and Seattle will begin to run the football and wear down that defense, and maybe that's when they pull away. That may be how we go from a 7-point game to a 14-point game or a 17-point game. I don't think it'll be more than 14 points. But I think we're going to see a pretty competitive game. And I think Seattle will pull it out in the end. The Seahawks, my worst nightmare, winning in Santa Clara. They'll be able to brag about this forever. But they'll beat the Pats. 24-17 is my pick. If you're going to gamble, do it so responsibly. I have a buddy who is a Jet fan, and this is not the Super Bowl. This is the hernia bowl. This is the hemorrhoid bowl, because he can't win either way. He definitely doesn't want to see the Patriots win another Super Bowl. And if Seattle wins, well, Seattle are going to win with Sam Darnold, who is the Jets' number 1 pick, who they kicked out of town. So he can't win either way. A boring game. Try to go to a bar or some Super Bowl party and try to enjoy it that way. And again, I think we're going to see a tough game. I think we're going to see a competitive game. I don't believe we're going to see a blowout. I don't believe we're going to see a lot of explosive plays. Shaheed, maybe he might have one explosive play, maybe two. If it's two, it's over. But I think this will be a pretty matter-of-fact Super Bowl. Nothing historic, nothing legendary, nothing that we're going to talk about 6 weeks from now. Not even a year, not a year from now for sure. Nobody's going to remember this Super Bowl. And that's that. And that's the Friday Night Podcast. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friend, Satan is always busy. This is going to be a crazy weekend, so be careful out there. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And just remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. Enjoy your football. Have a great weekend.